this little plug that goes in a socket and has a multi-coloured ring that flashes. I can't control it via my normal method, and I can't seem to get it open. I've tried. You can see the teeth marks. Oh, it's not teeth marks, it's bev marks. It's not, it's the spudges trying to get in there and get it open to reprogram it. Now, on the internet it does say that you can scrape away somewhere around here. I don't know, some section around here. So it's either at the bottom or at the side, but it will reveal the pins and you can solder onto them, do your thing. And then, I mean, what do you do then? I suppose you could put araldite epoxy over it to protect it, but that's, you know, you're exposing pins that are quite near to these, and I know there'll be separation, but you know, this is a fire resistant housing, well, one would hope, for a reason. So I don't really want to do that, although, you know, with a Dremel you keep going to, how far do you go when you anyway, it's $20 and I think we need to get a little bit more violent with it and see if we can't work out what makes it tick. So I'm going to just give it a little crack in the vise. Just turn it till you hear the crack and then back a quarter of a turn. Oh, there we go. That's a crack. Okay, so it cracked around where I was digging. So has that yielded us any more? Because it just may be glued. And the reason that I'm sacrificing this one is if I like it I can buy another one and I'll know exactly how to get it apart. But yeah, let's see, that's sort of yielded there. So if I try on this side, okay, well that's now, yeah, I don't know that there's going to be much of a way to get into this other than destruction. But this is the whole point of it. This is what I wanted to see, because it is coming. Of course, it could just be breathing heavy. Okay, it is things are happening. Pardon me. So if I can get this is a recipe for disaster, isn't it? Holding it in your hand. And I'm not really interested in plugging this back in after I get the cover off, unless, well, I say that. I am interested, but it just depends on how revealing it is. How close to the important bits it is. Okay, so that is glued. It looks like. Okay, so that just came out like that. Okay, so that's not too much damage. Now, let's have a little look here. So, that was glued. Yeah, it's glued under the LED ring. But if you took that off, how does the LED ring function? Oh, this is too tempting. This is too tempting. I'll put it in something I can voice control. How about that? Actually, I can control it with this. Okay, so it still works and the ring comes on, although that will be live. So we won't be putting any fingers near it. Now there is a button at the side which I'm going to very carefully... it's energized it. And now it's off again. Okay. So it still works. Now, if I want to get... I really do want to get further in. I mean, and taking it apart hasn't really given us any results here. Well, it has, but not the ones I want. And I'm starting to get a headache, which is... I know why. It's because of the way I slept last night. I'm just sort of kind of filling in conversation here. I think we've got as far as we can without the with the vise, and I think the rest of it is going to be chipping away with tools here. But we will have to wreck the LEDs, which is a shame, but we're not going to get... oh, hang on. Yeah, so it is glued. Definitely glued there. Oh no, the LEDs are on the circuit board. This is just a bit of plastic. Okay, so what we're going to do is stop, and we're going to get some acetone. And if I get a little brush like that and wet it in acetone, if I were... I'm just trying to think of the future. If I got another one of these plugs and I brushed acetone around the glue bit, which I'm not quite sure I'm actually doing. Oh yes, there we go. Because, you know, acetone will evaporate. And, oh, well, it's got us into that. So if I were to acetone brush a sealed plug, would I be able to get in? So I'm going to sort of say this is sealed still. So just imagine that that's still sealed, and it's not going to be... you might say, oh, but it'll get inside. Well, that's the point, and if it does get inside, it will evaporate. So you could pretty much... you could soak this thing in acetone if you really... well, no, that might be going a bit far, because that would let other things go. So if I can get a... if I could get a purchase under that... okay, well, anyway, let's see, because... yeah, no, it wouldn't penetrate far enough. So I'm thinking you'd have to make a little hole for it to get into. Or something, or you could... I suppose you could wrap a piece of cloth. But the acetone would... what's the name? Dissolve. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, we haven't got a good method of getting into it. I was just going to see if the acetone would allow us in. I mean, it will, but only if we're doing this from the inside. And that kind of defeats the purpose of not ripping it to pieces. But it's worth having a look anyway. This is not the usual content of Lloyd's Shed Nanigans, but I want to see what's in here, and I will not be stopped by glue. It's interesting that it was glue though, but I guess that's... this may be normal for this plug, because they don't want you reverse engineering it, or it also may be for safety standards, or because it's an Australian plug and our safety standards have to be higher because of the high voltage range, maybe that's got something to do with it too, because we're working at 220, 230 here, not measly 110. Right, I think we've got that kind of free. Let's pull out this and see. Okay, so that's got a little socket on it that plugs into these teeth. Right, this is the bit I'm interested in. Is there a screw holding this in place? No, there isn't. So how does that come out if I want to get this out? Not like that. Okay, so Yeah, even if you did manage to get the top off, you're not going to be able to do much surgery, because what I'm interested in doing is getting to this circuit board here. But I'm not going to be able to do that unless that's on a plug. No. Alright, well, we've ruined it anyway. Sort of. I wouldn't be using it again in this condition, so we're going to try pushing it out, see if it's just held in there. Oh no, the pin's bending. What about just these two? That's going to be trickier to do. No, it's going to push it down. I'll have to do it from the top. No, they don't move either. We're going to give them something to think about. No, they're just bending. Okay, so that is nailed to the... I better put the top on the acetone, or I'll be putting the top on an empty bottle. Yes, it is that bad. I can't see. I can see some solder joints there, but I can't see. Yeah, okay. Well, I think we've gone as far as we can, non-violently. I really want to get into the... Oh, it's good quality housing, you've got to give it that. I really want to get in and see what's... Yeah. This is going to be... You know what? I'm just going to break that board off, because that's the board I want to see what's on it. How are you held on? I don't want to do too much damage to it, because I'd like to see the... Well, you know what? I can already see it without getting it out, and I've just done too much damage to it to be able to see. It is not an ESP8266 chip. Oh, there we go. Now it's out. Gee, I wonder if it'll work now. This is... I've got no chance of seeing that. This is... It's a little more light. Okay, what have we got? We've got a marking of 201021, but I suspect that's the date. Oh, here we go. It's upside down, Miss Jane. ESP8266ES. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, so it does have an ESP8266 in it. It's not your normal standard looking one, but there is also a distinct lack of... Oh no, there's the reset port on the back, but there doesn't seem to be any marked pads to solder onto to reprogram it. Yeah, this is not an ideal plug for trying to use. Sorry, for trying to hack and put Tasmotor on. Yeah, if you're going to buy one of these things, just buy it and use it as it is with the Toya app. It's not even anything worth me scavenging from inside. It's just a relay, good old Class Y, and some other electrolytics. Oh well. That was annoying. No, I don't need to hang on to that. Oh, and there's the chip that's popped off as well. I wondered where that went. So yeah, we've learned something today. Unfortunately, it's not going to be very helpful for us. Do I hang on to that? That's little LEDs. I could feed them with something that might go in the electronics kit. Unfortunately, the rest of it is destined straight for the fuck it bucket.